In this point of view video, I thought it would be cool to give a bit of an insight into my street photography, talk through some of the scenes I found, as well as my thoughts on how I go about capturing my street shots. When I'm shooting on a sunny day, I'm always looking for interesting light and shadow. And I'm thinking, how can I use that light or shadow that I found to make an interesting shot? So in this case, it's really simple, really cool kind of dash of light, and really just requires someone to walk through and make the image. Nothing crazy, nothing too special, but I also like to get a sort of practice shot in, a few shots at the beginning of my street photography walks, just to get the eye in and get confident for what's to come later on in the walk. I really love exploring a new city that I've never been to before, especially kind of discovering the texture and the grit of the place. So I'm always looking for interesting sort of abstract shots that I might be able to make, and in this case there's a ripped poster with really interesting colours and shapes, which I think makes for a really cool little abstract shot just to show a bit of the texture of the place. Next I came across this really interesting window, and for anyone that follows my work and this channel, you'll know that I love a reflection shot, and for me this window was really interesting. It had a lot of graffiti on there, nice bold colours, shapes, texture, and I'm a real big advocate for working a scene, so I did spend quite a lot of time here. Obviously you're in a new place, you want to explore and walk around, but sometimes if you find something that you feel like there's a really good shot there, you need to spend the time to really work it and come up with the best shot you can get. So I came away with a few shots here that I really like, but I think the third one is the one that I'm really happy with, and it's gone into my portfolio. Sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming when you're in a new place, especially if you're not there for very long and you want to just see it all and capture it all, which of course isn't possible. So sometimes what you need to do is just grab a coffee, just have a little wander around, and just see what you see. You can only capture what is in front of you. So I really like this scene. I love the light that was splashing off from the windows into the street. I knew it wasn't going to make an incredible shot, but I just wanted to try and capture a little bit of the texture of the city. I was really blessed with great conditions. The light was fantastic and it was kind of creating all these reflections in the wall, as you can see here. And this particular street, I was really enjoying how the light was interacting with the graffiti that had been painted on the wall. Loads of depth and colour and vibrancy. So yeah, I wanted to try and capture something here. There wasn't much footfall of traffic, so there wasn't really much to work with, but I did get this guy walking past wearing quite interesting clothes, so I think it made quite a nice shot. These next set of shots I didn't capture on the GoPro, but I shot them in this location. Initially I was attracted to the colours everywhere and the shapes, and when I'm struggling for a composition or not really knowing what to photograph, I'll see what kind of shapes and colours I might be able to make a composition from, and then wait for people to interact with the scene, wait for people to pass through, see if I can capture an interesting moment or something that just happens spontaneously. But it was initially that scene that I'd found, the colour that I'd found, and I kind of just hang around and try and find some compositions to capture interesting street photographs from. Now this scene, I kind of took a random image that is not usually my kind of style, but the way he had his sunglasses on his head, I think it makes for quite a funny image. And I think if you can incorporate humour into your street photography, that's a really strong, powerful tool. I then whipped around quickly, noticed this guy out for a cigarette, and it had quite a cool, lonely feel to it, and the light was nice as well, so yeah, snapped that one off. Do you ever find a great location and you just know that there's an amazing street shot to be found, but you just can't get it? And no matter how long you kind of wait around, the shot just doesn't happen. That kind of happened in this scene here. The shadows and the texture from the trees was just brilliant, but I did spend quite a while waiting here, working the scene, but I just couldn't get one that I was happy with. I got an okay shot, and if I was living in Manchester or had more time here, I definitely would have come back to this scene another time. But yeah, that's how street photography goes. You know, you can't always get an amazing shot, but you just go with the flow and see what you can get. I found another nice pool of light here with a red and yellow phone box. So I kind of was just really waiting for a subject to pass through, hopefully wearing something blue to add to the primary colours there. And yeah, it was really simple shot, straightforward, but to make it really zing, I wanted to have the right subject. So I did spend a bit of time here and waiting for that right subject to pass through. I think it can be quite tempting when you see a shot like this just to snap any old person walking through and then move on, but sometimes patience pays off and you get the right shot. By the way, if you're enjoying this video and you've got specific questions about it or any other questions about my work, about street photography in general, then pop them in the comments below. I really love talking about all things street photography, so I'll be happy to reply to any questions you might have in the comments section. Along with reflections, regular followers of my work and this channel will know that I love a subframe. So one of the main things I look out for on the street is interesting things I can use to make a frame to put a subject or multiple subjects inside of to make a compelling street photo. I really love the concentric circles here, the shapes and the texture, and then I snapped off the shot with the right subject at the right time. Lately I've been trying to be a bit more experimental with my street photography, so here I really like the background and the colour of this graffiti, which is a theme I come across quite a lot in Manchester, and I just used a slower shutter speed to try and blur a bit of the motion. I don't think the shot quite works, there's an idea there, but something for me to explore a bit more in the future with. This scene, I liked the reflection in this car and I wanted to work the scene a bit to try and find the right shot. Didn't actually know that there was a taxi driver inside this car when I was doing this, so that was a bit awkward after I'd snapped off the shot. But he came out, we had a chat, he followed me on Instagram, so actually it wasn't that bad at all. It's always nice to have an interaction with someone on the street. But yeah, eventually I worked the scene to this reflection on the back of the car, using it to add a bit of visual interest in the foreground and to reflect that sort of red colour from the wall behind. Again, in this shot I just waited for the right person to walk past and for it to all come together to make quite a bold, striking street photo. So it's now actually the next morning and it was a little bit overcast. So when that happens, I like to try and find shapes on the street. Any shapes that I can use to block out portions of an image, to create subframing, to create a bit of negative space. And I found this parasol and used that parasol to make an interesting shape just to kind of frame the subject, and it made for quite an enjoyable photo once the right subject sort of walked through holding their hands there. Again, this was one of those scenes that I was really attracted to. The colour, the texture, the reflection, the sort of possibility of capturing a nice abstract image here. But again, there wasn't a huge amount of footfall. I couldn't quite get a shot that I was really happy with. But I did spend a bit of time, as usual, because I enjoyed the scene, to just try different angles, getting up higher, getting a bit lower, trying to isolate a subject, trying to make something more abstract, using a bit of colour theory, but also in black and white. This is a really heavily photographed scene in Manchester, and I've seen quite a lot of shots here from when I was looking at Instagram before I came. I actually really like shots that have been sort of overdone, as it were. Some people might shy away from it because you've seen everything, or you feel like you've seen everything from that location before, but for me, I think there's always something unique you can find, or at least try to find. So these archways look beautiful, and the light actually was perfect at this time of day because it added to the leading lines right down to the end of the archways. The kind of classic shot you see here is of just someone standing down at the end of the archway, and I did get a few shots of that, but I also wanted to try and get something a little bit more unique, a little bit more sort of me, I suppose. So you can let me know whether you think it works or not in the comments, but for me, I just tilted the camera to the side and just created something a bit more abstract, a bit more unusual, a bit more off kilter. So the first shot here is, I guess, a normal shot of these arches that you might have seen before. And then the second shot, for me, is my favourite because, yeah, it's just a little bit different, a little bit like, what's going on here? And I like that when you can sort of get that feel from a street photo and you've tried to find something unique in an over-photographed place. This next shot I took in the Lowry Gallery, who's one of my favourite artists. And I think that's a really good point to bring up, is it's really beneficial to go look at other kinds of art, not just photography. And you can use some things that you find and take some inspiration from other mediums to then maybe go and inform your work going forward. I really like this composition, really simple and clean, beautiful bold colours and strong leading lines. And I was really lucky to get a great subject to just fill the gap. This was another one of those awesome street photography locations. Just great character, great shape. But yeah, I did spend some time trying to get the shot, but the light was all wrong for what I was trying to do. But yeah, if I go back to Manchester again, I'd be spending a lot of time here because I think it's just such a cool, interesting location. And there's definitely a great shot to be found here, I'm sure. For me, there really is nothing better than going to a new city and just exploring it with my camera. It's just brilliant, and even if you don't come away with shots that you love, even if you only come away with a handful of images at all, just the process of going to explore a new city, seeing it with your own eyes for the first time is brilliant. So to cap off my couple of days in Manchester, the light was beautiful at the end of the day, and I just spent some time here, again really simple, just wanting someone to walk through that sort of splash of light there, with the nice colours from the shop fronts. It was just a case of being patient, waiting for maybe some nice colour to complement the other colours in the background, and that's what happened when this chap walked through. I also got one or two other shots, but I'll post another black and white one from that scene here as well. And for the last part of the day, because I loved Chinatown so much and we were going there to get dinner, the light was great. I didn't really get this shot on GoPro, but I did find sort of a bit of a coincidence with two people wearing a similar shape and colour cap. So it's just a nice little image to cap off the weekend and my time photographing Manchester. As always, a massive thank you for watching and following along. I really appreciate the support. If you did like the video, please go ahead and give it a like, give it a comment below, ask me a question. I'll happily answer any questions you might have. And if you want to check out some more of my work, I'll put up another video to watch now.